How did The Sound of Freedom, from Angel Studios and starring Jim Caviezel on a mere $16 million budget and almost no money for marketing, manage to take down a collective force of $1.5 billion from other major Hollywood studios, including the Walt Disney Company, Warner Brothers, and Paramount Pictures? Let's find out. Here we go. Renegade Online. Well, folks, welcome back. Another great day here at Valiant Renegade. It's good to see everybody out there once again. And if you are like one of the many folks watching this video, not yet subscribed to this channel, please take a moment and turn that little red subscribe button to gray. Hit that like button, hit that notification bell, share this sucker out on the social medias, and of course, please do leave a comment before you head out the door today. The Sound of Freedom has been on a wild ride since it opened, something that almost nobody expected, including other major competitive Hollywood studios and maybe even Angel Studios themselves. As a reminder, Sound of Freedom was originally produced by 20th Century Fox, who then sold to Disney in a deal in 2019 for over $70 billion. Disney then had the rights to this film, which they left sitting on a shelf, along with a great many others, I might add. And even the ones that Disney did put into theaters didn't get much attention, at least not from the marketing department. Matter of fact, there's a brand new lawsuit out there against the Walt Disney Company for that very thing, for titles that were acquired during the Fox deal in 2019. But The Sound of Freedom, again, the little movie that could. And that little movie that could was picked back up by its original creators in partnership with Angel Studios, who actually got it into theaters to big success, crowdfunded to get it back from Disney, I might add. And from that end, it became one of the biggest things of the summer, and investors are pretty happy, because otherwise it'd still be sitting in a darkened vault somewhere at Fox, now acquired by Disney. And it's been a good day for those crowdfunding partners who got a 120% return on their investment due to the box office success, and it may continue to grow from here. This from today, from the Washington Examiner, August 17th. Angel Studios, the distributor of Sound of Freedom, announced that investors in the film received a 120% return on their investment thanks to the film's strong box office showing. Sound of Freedom's budget for prints and advertising marketing was supported through Angel Studios' crowdfunding model. A total of 6,678 people, who are called the Angel Guild, contributed towards the film's launch. And it just goes to show you, with a good story, a passionate crowd, and passionate filmmakers, you can do gangbusters at the box office, and you don't necessarily need to spend $100 to $150 million just marketing in a film. But even after its release, Sound of Freedom wasn't without its problems, or at least perceived problems, with many audience members saying that some local theaters were giving them a bit of flack, turning off air conditioners or inexplicably shutting down screenings. Now, we've covered that before. I don't think that was anything at the top level of places like AMC. They were one of the best partners for Angel Studios for distribution of this film, and have been since the very beginning. But I can totally believe that there were probably some angry, politically charged employees that were none too happy with a bunch of conservatives showing up at their theater to watch a movie that they were told they were not supposed to like. Remember, kids, what you're supposed to be upset about right now are the actors and writers that produce big pictures for big Hollywood studios. You know, the ones that more often nowadays tend to suck. But here it is, the slate of $1.5 billion of production investment. That does not include marketing, and that production investment is only what the stated budget was. Now, of course, we know, if you followed us here on Valiant Renegade, that many of the budgets on this list far exceed what is actually here. Elemental was produced by the Walt Disney Company and PIXAR for $200 million. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, $300 million. We expect that figure to be closer to $350. The Flash production budget at $200 million. Absolutely not. That film was shot almost twice. That production budget, or the actual final expenditure on that film by Warner Brothers, probably $300+ million. Transformers: Rise of the Beast, right around $200. Haunted Mansion, also from the Walt Disney Company, at $157 million. And Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning from Paramount at $290 million. Now, why does that $1.5 billion matter? Well, because take a look at the domestic hauls for each and every one of them. They have all now been defeated by The Sound of Freedom. The biggest box office on this list is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, a film that came out just 4 days before The Sound of Freedom, We covered it here on Valiant Renegade, and a few weeks ago, I told you, based on the trajectory of both Indiana Jones and Sound of Freedom, Sound of Freedom was set to pass it. And guess what, folks? It has. Indiana Jones now stands just shy of $173 million, and there's nothing really else on this list that's going to meaningfully catch up. The Flash is completely done. Haunted Mansion is still out there right now and only a few weeks old, but nobody expects it to get much more money than it already has currently. Sound of Freedom from Angel Studios and starring Jim Caviezel now stands at $174 million, but that's not all. Take a look at the number of screens that Sound of Freedom is still playing on after 43 days in release. 2,800 screens, as a matter of fact. And after 47 days of release, just 4 days more than the Sound of Freedom, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny right there is only on 790 screens. And while Indiana Jones is still picking up roughly $172,000 on a Tuesday, Sound of Freedom, $732,000 on the same day. In other words, that gap between Indiana Jones and the Sound of Freedom is going to continue to widen, with Sound of Freedom pulling away. And just a reminder, folks, Sound of Freedom has yet to hit any international markets. It actually recently acquired distribution rights in several overseas markets, and it's set to be released in most of them in the next couple of weeks. Because right now, that entire $174 million is coming only from the U.S. and Canada. And that's about to change with Australia, Brazil, Mexico, South Africa, Spain, and the U.K. So on the domestic front, the Sound of Freedom has absolutely trounced some major investments. $1.5 billion worth of production investment from 3 different Hollywood studios this summer: Walt Disney, Paramount, and Warner Brothers. Now, of course, Warner Brothers and Universal also have some bragging rights, with Warner Brothers and the Barbie success and Universal with its big hit, Oppenheimer. Unfortunately, for the 6 films that we listed, they're all going to be losing money. But Sound of Freedom, with only $16 million in original production costs, and then maybe bought back from the Walt Disney Company for half of that, according to some reports, and then just simple grassroots, word-of-mouth marketing on a minimal, or at least comparably minimal budget to those other films that we showed you, has absolutely trounced them all, and is probably going to continue to do so. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Check us out on the Sunday live shows, and until next time, take care.